Yeah, Portillo's spectacular. Do you get down there much anymore?
No,
No?
you know, I used to go down a lot to either race or train or test equipment or whatever, but my teammate Moose Barrows, I think we might have met at the Moose Barrows
We did.
celebration of life.
And that was a spectacular event. It was like everybody in Steamboat showed up. There were ski racers from all over the world that showed up. I think, didn't his plane fly over at some point?
One of his. He owned a lot of planes.
Okay.
Because Moose's dad is the reason that Moose grew up in Steamboat.
Okay.
He was a top airplane mechanic, and he was driving through Steamboat, had a flat tire, and so they spent the rest of their lives in Steamboat.
Right.
So Moose moved there when he was like 2 years old.
Right.
And then became one of skiing's legends, partly because he was really good, not only in downhill racing, but on the pro circuit.
Right.
And became one of the best known ski racers in America because the opening of Wide World of Sports showed Franz Klammer, the guy in the yellow suit,
Right.
as Jim McKay said, "Oh, sports is the thrill of victory." That's Franz Klammer in the yellow suit.
Okay.
And the agony of defeat. And that's Moose in the middle of his downhill run,
I remember
1968,
that. Yeah.
Grenoble, when he almost beat Jean-Claude Keely in the downhill, but he took too many chances. One of them was about halfway down, hit a bump about 60 miles an hour, threw him up in the air, and he did a 1 3/4 back flip with a 1 3/4 twist, splat right to the hospital.
Yeah.
But that was the agony of defeat that
Right.
made Moose so famous in skiing.
Yeah. Yeah. I never met Moose, but just hearing the people that talked about him and everything around town, he seemed like a great guy. He really...
Outstanding guy. He and I would get together because he lived down the road in Steamboat. And we both had ranches on this road that is on the way from Steamboat to the Vail Valley.
Right,
a
to
little
Oak Creek.
shortcut.
Oak
Right.
Creek. I went by there last week, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
And I looked down and I went, oh, there's Moose's ranch.
That's right. Well, just before Moose's ranch, a few miles, is the north shore of Stagecoach Lake, and
Okay.
that's the Billy Kidd Ranch.
Okay.
And so Moose and I were not born in ranching country,
Right.
but fell in love with it, and we both had ranches. Well, if you can grow up in a place like Steamboat, Moose from about age 2, me from about age, I don't know what, 30s or 40s, when I got to Steamboat in 1970, found out that it was really a cowboy town.
Yeah.
A real authentic cowboy town.
Yeah.
With authentic cowboys like Buddy Warner
Yeah.
and a lot of the lift operators and cooks and people that worked in Steamboat who would take time off from ranching in the winter and work at the Steamboat ski area.
Yeah. I never realized that, but that makes so much sense. And all the way up to Craig and Hayden, I mean, there's ranches all the way through there. One of my favorite areas in Colorado is Dinosaur National Monument in that part of the country.
Sure.
It's just unbelievable. Let's talk a little bit about the World Pro Ski Tour, but what we're going to do is take a break here for a second, and we're going to come back and talk about you and the World Pro Ski Tour.